Hello, my friends. I'm going to do a segment on, well, what do you do in your relationship when you can't get your spouse to talk to you? What do you do in your relationship when there's things in the fan? Things have hit the fan. The fan isn't even working. What do you do? How do you do that? Now, in episode 16, Fair Fighting, I talk about how to create a structure like scaffolding that you would work on to do renovations on a house. But you create a safe container, and then you use the safe container to transmit your message. And then once you've created the safe container, things start to work. But what do you do before all that? How do you get to a place where you can even get to that? So I want to do a talk around that, and I'm going to call it crisis conversion. Crisis conversion. Get it? You are converting your crisis into something that is more tangible, more livable, more loving, and more safe for your spouse. So you might be in a situation right now, men, where you're feeling underappreciated. In fact, you don't feel appreciated in your relationship or in your marriage, because this doesn't work in your marriage too. When you're not, you're locking horns and you're butting heads. She never talks to me. She doesn't listen to me when I try to approach her. She mocks what I say. She mocks what I say when I'm with the kids. That's not cool, by the way. I know, it's not cool. So, why do you bother? Why do you bother doing that? And so you shut down, right? You shut right down, and you don't get to a place where you're even there's even anywhere to play with. It's stalemate. It is stalemate. So here's what you got to do. And men, you got to do this, okay? She is expecting you to lead. She's expecting you to set the example. As hard as it's going to be, you're going to have to sit in your muck. You're going to have to do that. Initiate conversation. I want you to be able to talk to me. I want you to talk to me. Sit down. Start talking. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to offer to listen. You're going to first receive, okay? You're going to receive. You're going to listen. You're going to listen. And you're going to be doing a lot of it. You're not going to be interjecting. All your job is to do here is to listen. She may have a laundry list of complaints. Hear them all. Hear them all. Again, it's not your job to complain back. Do you want this cyclical argument? Here's why this is important. When my wife and I were at real blows with one another, something that would really irk both of us is when neither of us listened to one another. But what I couldn't figure out how to do, because I wasn't great at it at this time, was figuring out how to communicate with her in a way that she would be able to communicate back with me. I couldn't figure it out because I was so immersed in my own stuff that I couldn't think because I was overthinking. Okay? So, first, initiate the conversation. It's going to be difficult. Second, offer to listen. First, receive. This is what you're going to do. Here are the laundry list of complaints. 3, make notes. And that might mean that you journal. There were moments when I would sit and listen. I would sit and listen, and then I would journal. I have a journal. I would journal about them. And that would help me get that stuff out at that time. I haven't journaled in a bit, so it's time to get back to that too. But make some notes. And you can even look studious for yourself first. But what this does is you set yourself up to look like you're listening. You've got a pad and paper with a pen, when you start to take notes, you look like you're listening, and you will actually consolidate what you write down to memory, and you will start to figure it out. It works. Trust me, it works. Number 4, when you have listened, and I mean fully listened, because you're going to get a lot of guff. You're going to get a lot of things come out. Repeat back or paraphrase. If this is what I think I have heard. Is this what you've said? And did you say this? You might have, they might just have to take a couple of tries at helping you with it. You might not get it right the first time as you're paraphrasing it, but they will help you with it. Trust me. They will correct you. It's okay. Just stay with it. That's the biggest thing, is stay with it. This whole thing that you're doing is receiving, is listening. That's all you're doing. Remember that. You don't get to interject with all of your things this time. This is all about you building trust at the moment, hearing them. Women want to be heard. Women want to be validated. Women want to be seen. You're going to hit all 3 of these. The 5th thing is, wrap it up. Is she finished? Ask her, is there anything else? Is there anything else that you want to really talk about? Is there anything else you want to bring up? If there is, again, you're listening. The first few tries at this, my wife had a few things that she really needed me to pull out of her. And that was initiated by this question. Is there anything else that you need to tell me? This is, if you've taken notes or you're doing a journal and you're taking notes in your head, start doing some of these things. Start correcting some of these things. These are where you're going to pull off the quick wins. And by meaning quick wins, when you start to do some of these things, you start to show her that you're listening. You start to show her that you care. You start to show her love and respect. And what that does is it creates a place of safety. And congratulations, you're on your way to being trusted. And then confidence comes there, which goes back to safety again. You're creating safety. You're creating a safe container now, okay? It is very important that you don't, at this point, inject all of your things into this conversation yet. Yes, I know. You probably want to blow off a lot of steam. You probably want to talk about all your things. You probably want to address some of the things that she is doing at this point. But here's the thing. You've got to set the example. You've got to be the one to set the example. You've got to lead, man. You've got to lead. You've got to set the template, the plan, this is how I want this to go. So when she sees you do it, it sets the example for her that that she's got something to model after that. So don't inject your stuff yet. This is crisis control. This is crisis control. You're managing the crisis. If you need time before you start going into attacking some of these things that she's asked you to do, or you start problem solving, because us men, we're good at that. We're good at problem solving right away. Before we listen, go take some time for yourself, man. Go take some time for yourself to understand what she said. And it can take as long as you want. You can take up to a couple of days to a week. But make sure that when you do this, make sure that when she's unloaded and you've asked her for all this conversation, that you keep her in the loop. I need more time. I'm going to need some time to think about this so that I can figure out how I can help you, how I can help myself. how it can help us and the kids. 3 days later, you still don't have it. I need some more time. I appreciate your patience. I know this is taking time, but there's going to come to a point where you're going to have to get this together. You can't go on forever putting this off. You hear me? You can't put this off forever. You got to make a decision. So, at this point, you got a whole laundry list of things that you're really going to look at doing. You've got some time to think about all this, and you've got an ear now, because now that she knows that you're listening, she is starting to think about listening herself. And maybe not. I could be wrong about that. Hopefully, that is your case. But do these things first. So this is the crisis conversion to get to the fair fighting. You've got to convert the crisis, pull a mosquito off my face, to get to a place where you can both set up the scaffold so that you can have established the safe container. All right. How'd I do? Put some comments below. I want to hear about this. Maybe you've got some really good stories about how you dealt with something like this, or how you're currently still dealing with it. Or maybe you're like, Jesse, I've tried all those things. Still not working, man. It may not be the place for you. It may not be the wife for you, the woman for you. And I'm not the one to say that that is everyone's case. And I'm not saying that you should break it off. But what I am saying is, think about those things too. Think about all sides of this. All right. Let me know how I did here. I'm curious to know how you received this. I'm curious to know if there's anything that you've done here that you've already done, you've already initiated, you've already tried, and has worked successfully. Or not. Talk to you soon. Let's do this.